Good morning. So I have a quote on my Facebook page this morning. It says, "Choices are the hinges of destiny." So what does that mean? Well, what has hinges? Like a door has hinges, for instance. So imagine the door swinging on its hinges, okay? It can be shut, it can be open, or anywhere in between open and shut. And depending on what's going on or whether there's a breeze or who left it a certain way, the door would be in a different position. So imagine your destiny, kind of like that door. The position of your destiny is kind of controlled by those hinges, by what happens by decisions, choices you make. Okay? So I was reading in this book. Actually, when I say reading, I usually mean listening because it's an audio book. And it's about getting out of depression. And it doesn't mean the kind of depression, where somebody is just all balled up and, and they just can't even move or do anything. It means the normal kinds of down times that people experience in life. And in this book, it tells a story of these two mountain climbing guys who were climbing a mountain. I think it was in some place most of us don't go, like Peru or something, some tall mountain there. And they were having a hard time. Evening was coming on. They needed to get back down the mountain. And one of the guys broke his leg. And the only option that they had, to get out of there, they could leave the guy there, then he would surely die. The guy that was okay could try to carry him out. That would be super risky. There was no way to get help. It was a really difficult situation. Just to let you know, the guy with the broken leg, he's the one that wrote the book. So obviously they got down the mountain, and it turned out okay. But here's the point that was being made in that story. The guy said, you cannot just sit down and wait for things to change. You have to change them. The way you change them is by making decisions, okay? By making choices. And he said it's a law of mountaineering that, let's say, you realize you're lost. And sometimes, how you can kind of feel that way just in your life, just sort of psychologically. You don't know what direction to go. You're not quite even sure where you are. You sort of feel lost. Well, he said, you need to start making decisions. You need to make a decision to do something. Like, let's say, to go back to the idea of somebody who's like a mountaineer who is lost. Well, you got to choose a certain direction and start moving in it. Now, let's say you come to a sheer cliff. Well, now you're going to have to choose another direction. And, what these guys did who were on the mountain, one where the one guy broke his leg eventually, obviously, it turned out that they got down off the mountain. It's kind of the same thing if you're feeling down. You cannot just sit there and wait for things to change. You have got to make some kind of decision, make a choice, okay? So it's like, here's that door, and the door's like this. It's not going to move unless you make a choice and move it, okay? So, do you know if you're feeling down, sometimes something as simple as just physically changing your position can change your mindset. Even just taking a few deep breaths. Do you know that when you take some deep breaths, it sets stuff working in your brain that helps to give you a better attitude, a more hopeful attitude about things? Yeah, breathing. Okay? So even just small decisions can sometimes make a really big change in your life. So if you are feeling down or upset, feeling lost, feeling like sort of under the circumstances, like you just don't know what to do something, okay? Just something small, all right? Get up, go for a walk, take some deep breaths, do a couple of exercises. I mean, it may sound silly, but actually, I love these counter push-aways. They make you feel good. Usually people's arms, are strong enough to do this. I mean, even if you have to stand up real close to the counter and just push yourself a little, like exerting yourself a little bit. There's something that feels good about using your muscles, even if it's just a little bit. My gosh, here, this glass bowl has some weight to it. I mean, even just, lifting it up and down like that, there's just a good feeling that comes from using your muscles. Little sort of sidebar here, but it's related. For his birthday or Christmas or something, I got my little toddler grandson one of those punching bag things, the kind that has sand in the bottom, and then it's kind of shaped like that, and you can punch it and it moves away, and then it stands back upright, and you can punch it and kick it. And sometimes when he has more energy than he knows what to do with, and he can be annoying to his sisters or to me, I tell him, where's your punching bag? Let's get it out. And I mean, he will wear himself out, physically working with that thing. And then he's more pleasant. Because sometimes, I was talking about being down, but sometimes you also have all this energy and you don't know what to do with it. You know what? They make these punching bags for adults too. You don't have to get the super duper expensive ones like they use in football training for tackling and stuff. I saw those online. My goodness, that you can just get, like a $15 or $25, $30 punching bag, and it can, actually how tall is his? It's actually, I think it might be a little taller than me, which is not so tall, like 5'3". But I have fun punching it and kicking it too. It's, anyway, oh my goodness, I'm kind of really getting off here. But the point is, don't let yourself sit down and be stuck and make no progress. Start making decisions, small decisions. Move in a certain direction. If that doesn't take you where you want to go, then you make another decision and move in another direction. But if you think in terms of somebody who, for example, some explorer or something in a new land, and or gosh, if you're in the woods and you get lost, you can even use that example. You can't just sit there, okay? You've got to start making decisions. Let me try this path, okay? This didn't lead me anywhere. Let me try that path. Oh, I'm standing here yawning now. I think I better make some coffee. So I decided, since we are more than halfway through August, I'm hoping that Nespresso is going to start coming out with their fall and holiday type coffees soon. So I went ahead and I got out some of my little cache of pumpkin spice cake coffee, because isn't that pretty? because I really like this. But, you know, I have it like, I have maybe 1 or 2 a month because I don't want to run out. So I'm going to brew this, and since I haven't had it for a long time, I'm just going to brew it black with nothing in it. And then if I do want something in it, I think I'll probably have some half and half. You know, it's half milk, half cream. Oh, I definitely need some coffee. Grayson and I already went on a walk this morning. We went more than about 0.8 miles, and here I've been standing talking to you, and I haven't had any coffee yet. Okay. Oh, I love watching this stuff. Even when I don't have, you know, it's so pretty when it goes into milk. But I think it's so pretty like this. Oh, look at that. So I'm standing here yawning, waiting for this coffee. All right, let me get a spoon out. This is one of those double-walled glass mugs, so I'm getting a plastic spoon so I don't... I had another one of these just like it, but that's the one that I broke using a metal spoon. You know, it's funny with these double-walled glass things because, well, my daughter once had this friend who was a ballet dancer, and over several years she started having some trouble with one of her feet, and it turned out that it was a stress fracture. Basically what happened is, I guess, the stress of the different sorts of things, you know, landing on her one foot and things like that, eventually it just was, you know, kept impacting the bones until finally they developed just this fine crack, and it couldn't heal because it kept getting impact to it. And you know, finally sometimes those kind of things can break. I think that's what happened with my other double-walled glass mug. You know, I would use the spoon, but a metal spoon being heavy, even though I was careful putting it in, there was more impact than putting this plastic spoon in. And I think eventually it just created like a stress fracture, and one day it just gave way. But the thing is that the outside didn't break. It was the inner part of the double-walled glass that broke. And the reason that I knew something happened is all of a sudden there was this like bubble that came up in my coffee, and I thought, what is that? That's so weird. And then I noticed that the coffee was starting to, you know, it was starting to fill in these places that should just have air in them or nothing in them. So I knew that obviously the inside had broken. I poured the coffee out, and sure enough, there was a hole at the bottom. Anyway, let me taste this pumpkin spice cake. Oh, before I even drink it, those spices are, you know, detecting them with my nose. Oh my gosh, this is so good. And I can tell, just like how when you have pumpkin pie, you know it's really yummy, or a lot of people think it is, if you put some whipped cream on it. So this is like my whipped cream. This half and half into my pumpkin spice cake coffee. Oh, come on, little mini moo. They sealed this one down really well. There we go. Oh, yes. When you add some milk or some cream to coffee, if there's any little bite or bitterness or acid sort of flavor, the milk or cream smooths it out. And I mean, this is good even without the milk or cream in it, but so listen, if you're stuck, start making choices, make some decisions, and act on them. See where they take you, okay? But don't just sit there and do nothing. Have you heard the saying, if nothing changes, nothing changes? So, your destiny, let's see, choices. Choice, what was my saying on Facebook? Choices are the hinges of destiny, something like that. So make some choices, okay? Start moving and things will change. If they don't change when you're just sitting there, you make them change. I'm going to drink my coffee. I obviously need it. Oh, so I'm here. I'm going to yawn again. My father used to do that. He'd yawn and cover his mouth and then make believe that he was, releasing something up or gently tossing it up, and he'd watch it go. You can do that with your kids or your grandkids. All right, I better go. Oh, good morning to y'all who are watching. And I need this coffee this morning. I'll talk to you later.